Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Weather with Jonathan here, back with another daily weather forecast. I hope all you guys are having a great day out there, and I hope all you guys are enjoying your weather. Now, something because you guys probably know if you've watched my most recent video or my second most recent video that we did a documentary of the Rolling Fork tornado. And speaking of the Rolling Fork tornado, you should definitely go to Ryan Hall's channel and go donate to him because he is helping many victims in the tornado that struck Rolling Fork. So I hope all you guys are enjoying your weather out there. And speaking of enjoying your weather, what's happening around the U.S.? Well, this is a look at our current weather that's happening around the U.S. You can see I have a couple little showers up here towards the northern Ohio River Valley region and the mid Mississippi River Valley region towards eastern Iowa. We also have a couple severe thunderstorms down here in Texas. Those are going to be moving off quickly to the east. We also have a couple severe thunderstorms down here in the south that have been dropping some damaging winds, large hail, and a few tornadoes did happen over the next couple of days. And then we also have a pretty powerful low pressure center spinning off the Pacific Northwest. This is going to be dumping a lot of rain to you guys in Western California, in Western Oregon, especially also in Central and Northern California. I'd say you guys up here in Northern California could get upwards of 4 inches of rain. You guys up here in Western Oregon could get upwards of about 2 inches of rain, and then you guys up here in Southern Washington and Western Washington, you could expect just about what I said for Western Oregon, 2 inches of rain. And then I'm pretty sure this is just a couple of snow showers up here in the northern plains. So now let's go over our NWS hazards. You can see we have a couple red flag warnings in effect for northeastern New Mexico and southeastern Colorado, and a couple high wind warnings with that. That is because of some critical fire weather conditions happening over the past couple of days. We also have quite a bit of wind advisories in the West Coast, also a little bit in the Pacific Northwest. That's all the gray you see. I also have some winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories in the purple and the pink over in the West Coast mountains, and a couple of winter storm watches down here in Southern California. So now let's go over our severe weather. So we have a major severe weather outbreak coming. And also, I just want to point this out right now. We actually have a good amount of dynamics up here, and on where we had that slight risk in place, it got canceled to a marginal risk down here, or downgraded. But then those dew points are going to start reaching a lot farther north, and we actually probably have a marginal threat for severe weather in that area. So the models have changed a bit. Now we only have just a bit of a marginal threat for severe weather down here. Now, that very well could change. I think it could potentially change, but that's just not the only thing we need to talk about. We need to be talking about Friday. So this is Friday. You can see we have enough ingredients in place here for Western Illinois, almost the entire state of Missouri, pretty much, and central Iowa. Now, of course, we'll have a severe threat extending all the way down into just about here. Now, listen, I think for the entire day, also the Storm Prediction Center does think that we have severe risk probably for that entire circle. We could have a little severe weather extend all the way up east into Ohio, now as currently starting to be warranted, but not 100%. And you can clearly see the clashing of that cold air and the clashing of that warm air. And you guys know what we get when that meets. We get severe weather, and so we could have a potential severe weather outbreak. And all the ingredients are in place, and not only is that in place, but we have enough CAPE in place. And do you guys know what CAPE is? Well, You're about to now because CAPE stands for Convective Available Potential Energy, and this is basically like gasoline for a car. And that's a lot of CAPE. Actually, that's about 1,000 to 2,000 joules up there in Iowa and northern Missouri. I think our severe threat could shift a little farther north into maybe even southern Minnesota. It's a pretty decent event and pretty complex dynamic event. And that's why we could also be looking at enough wind shear for tornadoes. And that's why I think we could have pretty dynamic threat for tornadoes and a pretty significant threat for some tornadoes here. Now listen, the wind shear has just been about staying the same to getting a little worse, but we have a lot of wind shear. That's 925 millibars, 850 millibars, 700 millibars, 500 millibars. Now listen, everything is in place here for a very significant weather event, and that's pretty much a trough right there. Now, what's making this annoying is it just gets really confusing. We have about a wind shear about 45 knots to about 60 knots, so that's definitely enough to support an environmental tornado potential. 925 millibars, 700 millibars though. It's showing up to 80 knots. Now listen, that I don't 100% believe that, but the 500 millibars actually really agreeing on this and saying that we have a lot of wind shear in the higher part of the atmosphere and the lower part of the atmosphere. A lot of wind shear is in place, and that is going to support the potential for tornadoes. Because if you didn't know, wind shear is what helps fuel those tornadoes. So now let's go ahead and start tracking this thing out. Now listen, I'll get more data and I'll start to be able to use our interactive future radar for this, but this is all I can get to so far. But we actually have a pretty big potential for some severe thunderstorms up here. I think that will get upgraded to a slight risk for that. But then watch on the 30th in the evening hours, you can see some supercells start to develop in Oklahoma. Probably going to be more of a marginal threat. But then as we head out into Friday, you can see this is around 8 a.m. You can see we have quite those thunderstorms forming up here in northern Missouri and central Iowa. These could definitely produce the threat for some tornadoes because it's looking like these are going to be in a discrete mode in the morning hours. Now, listen, that's not 100% the main round. Our main round is this little sort of, well, no, that's our main round. But anyways, so these will start to develop into more of a linear mode as we get out into the day. Now listen, pretty much almost like the entire eastern U.S. will be getting thunderstorms from this. You could be getting thunderstorms all the way up north to the UP of Michigan and down south to like southern Texas. So this is just crazy. So now let's take a look at our instantaneous flash rate or lightning flash rate. This shows us where lightning strikes could happen. Now I want you guys to pay attention to here, here, and here. Now first we need to look at what is going to be happening near the Sioux Falls region. So this is why I think we could see that slight risk, because you can see that's some pretty strong thunderstorms right there. That's where lightning strikes could happen. That is very high. That definitely really could happen. And if you didn't know, my dad's cousins live there, so I will give them a heads up on that. But if you guys live here, you should be aware because this is going to be pretty significant, and I think we could definitely see that get upgraded to a slight risk. As we head out into the day, now listen, that's overnight, that night. We could definitely have some supercells in Oklahoma. develop finally in the morning hours/overnight, and then these will quickly become um, just these will grow into monster supercells down here in the south, and then we have a couple supercells starting to develop in Missouri and Iowa with all that energy that is just left there, and that's where we could have the potential for some tornadoes. So now this is our day 3 categorical risk. You can see we do have a marginal risk of severe weather. This was downgraded from a slight risk to a marginal risk for central Oklahoma and northern Texas. And then we also had a marginal risk added to eastern Nebraska. Now, listen, since I see all the good amount of ingredients in place, and I see severe thunderstorms extending all the way up into here, I think they could extend that marginal risk and maybe even add a slight risk in there for probably damaging winds, hail, and tornadoes is not out of the question. Then we also have this even larger enhanced risk, and this just got larger since yesterday. This was extending all the way only to about here. They extended it further south, and then this is a large enhanced risk, and this is actually because of pretty much about all hazards. Tornadoes, hail, and wind is not out of the question. And then a very large slight risk in place, extending all the way from southern Wisconsin down through northern Louisiana. It's insane. So we could even see an upgrade to this. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an upgrade. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it stayed as an enhanced risk, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get upgraded to a moderate risk. Now, thank you guys for coming and watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for all the support, and I'll see you in my next video.